What you're looking at right now is a large body of moving water. This water is not from polar ice caps or rain. It's your tears from the last episode. First off, shout out to Lee for having 900 cameras in his shop. Lee has more high-def cameras than a damn bank. And shout out to Chris for picking Daisy up and basically lifting her out of the shop when she was burning. I'm Rich from Rich Rebuilds, and I run a silly little YouTube channel where I start projects and occasionally finish them. So the last project that I started was an old Disney Princess electric car that I had the bright idea of putting a Tesla battery module in to see how much of an improvement it would make. And it sure as hell did. The torque was insane. The little buggy got a new lease on life. Now what happened after that was an interesting series of events. After Lee and I drove around with it, it started to get kind of sluggish because the batteries were getting low. Duh. Now this car was just for the lulz, and I didn't really think to myself beforehand, oh crap, I should buy a proper charger like this one that already has Tesla's charge curve programmed into it. But the car was a lot more fun than I expected, and we needed to charge the batteries somehow. So this is mistake number 1 of 26 that I made. I said for now, let's just throw a cheap charger on it. Lee also had an external monitor for the battery voltage and temperature, which he had in this video he sent me not too long before the party started. And now you could barely make out anything in this video that Lee took because he has an Android phone. I can make that joke because I also have an Android phone. Anyways, what happened next? Well, the security footage shows that while it was plugged in, one of the little batteries exploded and started a chain reaction within the two modules, setting off one module, then the second one a little bit later. After I posted that video, almost every person that has custom built an EV or used a Tesla battery in some way reached out to me like, dude, what the hell are you doing? What happened to those batteries? And how could you do this to the EV community? Taking it quite personally. And I'm sitting there like, well, at the end of the video, which hardly anyone makes it to, I said no BMS, no cooling, these batteries aren't toys. Make sure that you are safe at all times. And they were like, well, were the batteries charging? And I was like, yes, they were. And they said, well, how come you didn't say that in the video? Well, I thought it was obvious, but clearly it was not. Just to be clear on something, the batteries didn't spontaneously combust, and I understand why you would think that, but they did not. They were charging and clearly got extremely overcharged, and a single cell lost its damn mind and started a chain reaction. The video from last week was not supposed to be a, hey, look, these are unsafe type of video. It was more of a, please be safe, and this is what happens when the shit hits the fan type of video. Just like, hey, this is what a car looks like when it rolls off a cliff. So, don't roll off a cliff. But I do get it now, and before I continue, let me explain something to you guys. I'm a die-hard car guy. It doesn't matter if it's powered by gasoline, batteries, kerosene, propane, or compressed natural gas. I've had a few M5s, an SRT8 Jeep, a supercharged 300, and I have a heads cam built Ford's Corvette Z06. But I've also had a few cars for the lulz. People, including myself, have blown up cars in the past, whether it be fuel line leak or a popped injector dumping fuel in the engine itself, or shoot, sometimes it's intentional. But the reaction that this last video got was interesting because it was an EV. When a gas-powered car gets blown up for the lulz or even by accident, no one bats an eye, but when it's an EV, it's taken very personally because it's still a very small and growing community. There's a battle going on between the hardcore gas guys and the hardcore EV guys, which is the equivalent to monkeys throwing feces at each other, but every time something happens to an EV, the hardcore gas guys laugh and say, ha, I told you. And every time a gas car blows up, the hardcore EV guys say, this wouldn't have happened if you got an EV. It also seems like the last video got a lot of fuel for the fire for the anti-EV guys, as well as the anti-Tesla people alike. Well, just to set the record straight, the batteries are safe. If I thought they weren't, I wouldn't own a Tesla or rebuild them, nor would I have 100 of these things in my basement. How do I know they're safe? Well, I've owned not one, not two, but 4 Teslas that were fire damaged. The cars were burnt to a crisp, but the batteries remain unharmed. The cars are well built and their engineers took the time to ensure people's safety, and the only time the car would do something like Daisy did is in extreme, rare situations. The fact of the matter is it was a faulty charger with batteries outside of the car and outside of Tesla's safety net. I viewed it as, hey, the batteries blew up, made for an awesome show, and no one died, so let's move on, but the impact was much deeper than that. A lot of EV people took this personally, but that wasn't my intention. Now let's get to the comments, shall we? Here we have a group of conspiracy theorists patting themselves on the back, asking what I was hiding and why I edited that part of him unplugging the charger out. To answer that question, I wasn't hiding anything, and if I was hiding something, I probably wouldn't post a YouTube video about it. That part of the video was removed for pacing purposes, not to hide anything, and there were 3 hours of security footage from multiple cameras, and I had to get it all under 15 minutes. Stupid to use a fire extinguisher for this kind of fire. You don't put water on lithium. Well, that's been a big topic of debate that I won't get into, but the goal wasn't to extinguish the fire, it was an attempt to control it, which is exactly what happened. It was controlled to the point where the fire department came and simply saturated the whole scene with water after they arrived. And this is why Tesla doesn't want to sell you parts. This fire has nothing to do with that at all. They won't sell you any high voltage stuff, which I get. Tesla also will not sell you a front crash bar for your car, which is completely irrelevant. And the occasional, Rich, you should find a new line of work, something that doesn't involve cars or batteries, cry me a river. I've enjoyed watching this channel until now, cry me a river. Everyone was up in arms about this episode, but the fact of the matter is I made a mistake, filmed it, uploaded it, and admitted it. People are continue to throw rocks, but that's okay. I'm going to continue to make mistakes and not sugarcoat anything. So stay tuned. It's not one of those everything is perfect channels and everything takes 15 minutes. This is the real deal. When I make a mistake, you're going to know about it. If you want to learn more about educational battery tech, there's lots of other channels you can follow. There's Jack from EVTV, Mr. Garcia, Engineer, my friend Phil, there's Stealthy V, EV West, and my buddy Damian McGuire. Those are the people that I watched. Great channels. Thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out the Indiegogo in the description below. If you donate to the shop, I'd appreciate it. If you don't want to donate, just complain on Reddit. I'll talk to you guys soon.